Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
All right, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter, he's Scott McLeod. It's PGA Show Week, which means a lot.
Yes.
It does mean a lot. We'll get into that. Flagstick Podcast this week brought to you by our good friends at Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in our great country. With over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences, it is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So head over to golfpei.ca and book those golf vacations now. Before we get started, make sure you're following us across all of our social media platforms, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts, and hit up that YouTube channel. Like us, click that notification bell, make sure you never miss a single episode of this podcast. What are we going to talk about on the show this week? Well, let me tell you. There's a few times during the season that I've said before where we get kind of excited about golf.
Yep.
And major championships are one of those times. Sometimes Ryder Cup, very very seldom President's Cup, and always Solheim Cup, but the PGA Merchandise Show, the staple of the golf industry when it comes to golf equipment, albeit has changed extremely significantly over the years in how things are done and the size of it and so on and so forth. But it is still PGA Show Week. And that means when you're a golf media and the PGA during PGA Show Week, you can expect to be inundated minutely. Minutely? Is that even a word?
It is now.
Minutely for new equipment. And this is coming from the mainstream golf manufacturing industry and from the most obscure spots in the various corners of this great earth of ours, with the latest piece of equipment that is sure to improve your game.
We will get into it deeply.
Big time.
So because if I start talking about it,
we won't stop.
We'll never get to it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
We'll get to it eventually.
So we're gonna get into that. But we got some front nine stuff that we want to get into. Little news wrap ups, little updates and things like that. So let's get to our front nine first. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Now is a great time to start thinking about next season. Personalized golf balls, game packages for everyone. 10, 20, and 30 round passes are always available. And of course, don't forget your memberships and league registrations. Visit metcalfgolf.com. Stay in touch with golf savings. Well. Well.
For January, there seems to be a lot going on, doesn't there?
Yes, it does. It says, okay, well, so right off the bat, let me just say, we opened up on Friday last week. We opened up Friday last week the registration for the Flagstick Open Amateur Championship presented by TaylorMade Golf and Adidas, which will be played once again and for the foreseeable future at Equinell Golf Club. This is the 14th year for the tournament, and we opened up registration to our previous participants from last year, which is generally the tradition of the tournament is they have 48 hours to register for this year's event. If they don't register within the 48 hours, they can still get into the tournament, but then we open it up to the general population, for those people that might not have gotten into the tournament in the past. And we've done that, and we are starting to see some very new names. I won't say new faces because I don't know these people yet. So, but I will get to know them very soon. That said, we are sitting at about 100 of 120 spots full, and registration has.
We say that as we're recording.
Yes. It could be more by the time. Yeah, exactly.
It could be full by the time this hits the airwaves. So, but whatever the case.
The wait list is always, you got to get on the wait list. You go on the wait list, you don't pay. yet, unless you're accepted into the field to fill a spot. Once you're pulled off the wait list and put into the field, then you're automatically charged for it. So, but you won't have to charge. You're not charged anything. You don't have to take a deposit or anything. Just put your name on the wait list and get your information in there. And the wait list can grow. I've seen the wait list up to about 70 people. And then as this tournament gets a little closer, we do have people that have other commitments, injuries, family things, and generally speaking, a lot of people off the wait list do get in. So don't think just because you're not one of the first 120 that you're not going to get in. Just register. Yep. Important.
Yep. Exactly.
Great to see though.
Lots of excited people. Like you said, the new faces to you. There's a lot of names in there that I know. People that I've had DMs and messages with, and texts and emails, and they're, can I get in? Can I get in this year or whatever? And the coolest part about this is that it's really organic. There's a lot of people that have played in the tournament. They've talked to their friends and said, hey, you've got to play in this tournament. You've got to get in. If you want to play in a tournament, this is the one that you want to get in. And, we appreciate that referrals because that's how they hear about it. In a lot of cases, obviously they see our social media, they see our marketing and so forth. But the real kicker for most of them, the one that sort of pushes it over the edge is when they talk to someone who's been in the tournament and had the experience, and that is the difference maker.
And the thing is, I gotta say, I mean, we always talk about our support and stuff, but we have had amazing support from TaylorMade and Adidas over the years for the event. They help make this a massive part of making this tournament what it is. And to be able to host the tournament at Equinel every year as well, and have that sort of staple location, great facility, great golf course, great people there. It just adds the tournament is about, it's a golf tournament. Yes, it's a 2-day golf tournament. Yes, but it is really all about at the complete golf tournament experience. And it's something that a lot of people don't get to experience, this type of golf tournament atmosphere.
No, you're right.
People play in lots of tournaments, but not like this. I can guarantee it's not like this. So very excited about this year once again. And I'm sure we'll see those registrations completely full within the next week.
Yeah, and it's a big year for Equinel. I mean, we know they're going to be, they always have it in great shape, but they're hosting the 111th Golf Ontario Women's Amateur this year, which is huge for them, and that's a testament to the quality of the golf course, and part of the reason why we go back there. So, looking forward to it. So.
All right, so PGA Tour got things kicked off at the Sony Open in Hawaii. And did I watch any of it?
I always asking.
I watched a snippet here and there. I didn't really get into it. I mean, there was a lot of football on this past weekend.
Yes, I watched some of that.
So I did kind of get into a little bit of the football. I'm not a huge football fan yet. It's not AFC or NFC Championship week, so that's this coming week. So I'll probably get into it a little bit this weekend. And then I'll watch the Super Bowl, and then it's pretty much.
Sony Open was easier though, just because it was late at night, and that makes it, in some cases, makes it easier. It depends what else it conflicts with, but I would say obviously a lot of Canadians had a lot of interest for the first couple of days with Nick Taylor, being the co-leader, and at one point, there was 5 Canadians within the top 10 at one point, but unfortunately, Pendrith ended up being a T6, but he was 64 in the final round. So he sort of came in there backdoor, didn't really have a chance to win. And so there wasn't a chance to win like last year when Nick Taylor won for a Canadian. But, at least it gave us a look and some interest as well to keep an eye on it. And they're on to Palm Desert this week and the Amex.
Yes. So, okay. Brooke Henderson has been named to the WTGL.
Yes. So the women's.
So this
TGL,
would be the women's version of the women's version of the TGL indoor golf league that's played at the SoFi Center.
Yep.
Along with some other notables.
Little Charlie Hull, Lydia Ko, Lexi.
Very excited for them.
Yeah.
I'm still not, as you can tell by my expression here, my hesitation is this. I'm very excited for Brooke and these players, and I'm glad to see that if they're going to have the WTGL, that they've decided to add a women's component to it. I think that's important.
But
for golf, I'm still not sold on this. I mean, I've watched a little bit of it. It's a little more competitive as far as the matches go. There's not as much of a blowout situation. They're kind of learning how to play it a little bit. I just can't. Like, it's just. I just don't here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with it. It's too big.
Yeah, I know. We've had that discussion.
I love this putting green thing. I love all that part of it. I just cannot get into this. Some things just aren't big screen events.
Yeah,
like I just can't.
Here's the thing for me. It's I don't even look at the competition. I couldn't even tell you. It's like what the scores are most of the time or whatever. No. It's generally just an entertainment product. It's not a competition product in my mind.
But is it entertaining?
Well, in some ways. I mean, if you're sitting there on a January and there's nothing going on, it sort of fills the gap. It's not
reading the newspaper on the toilet, but I mean, it's entertaining too.
Yeah, but every single person is going to have a different opinion on it. Obviously,
that's why we have them, right?
Well, that's exactly it. So
that's why they made opinions, so we can all have one.
It's good exposure for the players. I'd like to still see some mixed play. I think I saw that in a lot of the comments.
That's probably going to come now that they've got the WTGL
so.
and
So, but anyway, so they start next winter. Despite the fact that a certain national broadcast network, I saw one of their posts about it. They're like, "Hey, Brooke Henderson's heading to Florida." I'm like, "Well, she lives in Florida, and it doesn't start till next year, so she's not heading there in 5 minutes." But anyways, yeah. So you know what, going to be, I guess, good for them on that aspect. I'd like to see or be interested to see how they're going to fill out this teams, what formats are going to do. Are they doing teams? They just named 5 players. They haven't really said anything. So
maybe those are the 5 captains.
That could be. It could be from an international standpoint.
Maybe they're going to have a Canadian team.
Okay, and then we'll
who would be on the Canadian team? It'd be Mona Me. Alexa. Elena Sharp probably be on that team. Maybe as a veteran. Lori Kane.
Leah John. The thing is, we just don't have strong enough players to fill out a team, and the thing is as we know, it's not even about that anyways. It's more recognition factor.
How many TGL teams are there now? 8?
Oh, I don't even know.
See, there you go.
See, I know, that's what I mean. I don't really care about the competition. It's the faces that you're seeing there, and they're actually expanding. They're actually probably expand out and do more. But again, it's entertainment product. It's based on the stars. It's something to fill out TV. But anyway,
exactly. Here's the thing. I'm not. I will. This isn't one of those things like Live where I'm going to be arguing with people who like it or don't like it. If you like it, great, love it. That's awesome. I think it's good for, it's good exposure for the tour and the players, and I got no problem with that, but it's just not my cup of tea right now. Not yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe they'll figure it out to the point where it'll make me excited to watch it, but right now I just can't.
Well, I think one of the things we talked about before in a previous thing was leaning into the stadium, the sim aspect, the different aspect. And I think now we're seeing, and I think we're going to see it tonight, even another hole, but putting in that stinger hole and putting in some different things that are different challenges that are not,
which is weird considering when we promote things like TrackMan, when we talk about Falcon Ridge and them having
most people want to play tour courses.
We talk about the PGA Tour courses, but then when we talk about this, we're like, okay, but that's not what we want to see. We want to see the Devil's butthole and all this stuff. That's what we want to see. The almost stupid impossible. What's the freaking course they probably have one on TrackMan. Isn't it like the pirate ships and all that?
The Devil's Island?
That's what I want to see. I want to see the pirate ship hole where they got to hit it Like,
so again, we want for ourselves, we want to put ourselves in the fact that we're playing PGA Tour courses, but when we're talking about these players, we see them on tour courses. So
exactly.
we
I
want to
guess
put
that's
them
the
in the
thing. Yeah,
opposite situation. So
I
that's what it
get.
is. So
I guess.
so they are leaning into some of those designs a little bit and being a little bit different that way. And I mean, again, it's trying to find as many engagement hooks as possible for it, just to make it different and not, because realistically, if they just go and play, whatever golf course, it's not going to be all that exciting. So anyways,
Apologize for the mini yawn there. What the heck's going on there?
you falling asleep here.
No,
All
I'm
right.
definitely not falling asleep. Okay. Before we get to, because we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. Before we get into the back nine, we thought we'd use this last bit of the front nine to kind of set you up for the back nine conversation about PGA show and equipment and stuff like that. So, I guess the first thing to do is explain to those that don't understand what the PGA show is. Despite the 7 pages of notes on what the PGA show is, let's just describe for the general population of golfers what the PGA show is.
Okay.
Before we talk about,
because I think that's important, because I think they hear the term over and over again and they don't know what it is, and we hear consumers that are like, okay, do I go to this show? This is an industry show. Now it has changed a fair bit as far as access and so forth. It started as a trunk show in the 1950s, a PGA Tour, PGA of America, as far as a sales show, and really it's for the industry to go and see kind of everything that's going on in the industry. In most cases, a lot of people have done their buying already, but this is an opportunity to see everything in one place. I'll say close to everything, because not everyone is there. A lot of people have returned to the show, but not everyone.
And some things that you can't unsee.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of described as the fashion week, of the show, of the of the industry, with not only just fashion, but obviously equipment, innovation, technology. Basically you're going to get 40,000 people or so that kind of meet up, 1,000 brands kind of get together, show off what they have, show maybe what they're working on. That's the other side of it here is, from a marketing side of it, they're obviously trying to stake out territory and say, hey, we're getting into the space, we're working on it, it's not quite ready yet. Maybe we'll see it this year, that kind of thing. If you're looking at things like clothing or, footwear or things like that, you can see it all. Right. You're not just seeing 10 samples out of the back of a rep's car. You're seeing everything that the company has. You have a chance to interact with the key people as well, be it the product designers, the whoever it is within the company. So from a media perspective, you kind of go to, again, see everything. Now, what's different, and we'll get to a little bit more of kind of what's all there or whatever, but what's different over the years is product cycles have changed. And we have to understand that now in an internet era, more things are obviously easier to expose, get that information out or whatever. It wasn't that way back in the day. As we've chronicled, a bunch on this show over the years and talking about, the PGA show, of how it used to be, we get slides and photos and you have to be there in person to get that aspect or pick up a CD or whatever. Well, now we have all this information, a lot of it well in advance. So I'll tell you right now, and I've mentioned it on the show before, is that I've been sitting on press releases for months, like under embargoes, can't release this information until, particular dates. And, as a media person, we have to track all this all the time, right? The nice part is that this is sort of the release valve where all of a sudden everything is coming out today, that we're the day we're recording this on the Tuesday. This is a demo day. So a lot of the stuff is out in the wild now. So they can't really sort of protect it as much. The technology
out in the wild. I like that.
And so as a result of it, all the release information is coming out, and then, we'll be inundated. And you'll notice with the, flagstick.com, obviously product after product after product, up on the website, in our social media feeds and so forth. So what's changed though, is that the product cycle buying has changed. This used to be people would come in January to buy for the golf season coming ahead. Well, now a lot of the information has been released. So this show has become a lot about people getting together, getting interaction with stuff, looking at things that are way ahead rather than what's coming sort of next. So you're not there to sort of buy. And I mean, the first shows that you and I went to we were there from a buying perspective.
Yeah.
and you're looking for items to fill out your retail store. You may have booked some of your key things, but you don't know yet what the new driver looks like or what the new iron looks like. So you'd come back after the show and finish up your buying. But at the show you'd find new manufacturers. Maybe you'll find a different clothing product, something that appeals to you, a technology, just any type of item that you sort of may sell. And the thing is now as well, I think it's been probably close to 15 years now when I mentioned that demo day. That demo day didn't exist years ago.
No, it was added later.
Yeah, and the show was just an indoor space. And when we say indoor space, we're talking, million square feet, 10 miles.
Yeah, just a small indoor space.
Just a small indoor space. So this takes a lot to go and cover this. Now it's shrunk a little bit over the years. Now it's grown back up again. They've added some other things on the other side of the show, be it affiliated sports, your pickleballs and stuff like that, things that are going on at different clubs. There's also a huge education component that goes on. If you go upstairs for the PGA of America, there's all sorts of different seminars and things that are going on. You'll see things like inventor spotlights for the small manufacturers. Maybe it's their first time they get to the show. They want to showcase some of their new stuff that's there. So it's just a comprehensive thing where a lot of the action also happens away from the floor. There's obviously show hours and you're booking all your appointments and you're doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes on after the show.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, it's not just people having fun and heading to the bars or whatever the case may be. There's also a lot of businesses happening off the floor, at hotels that are around the convention center. There's meetups that are happening. There's different companies will be putting on particular golf events. Come on out to golf on this particular day, and we'll showcase some of our equipment. Groups will get together and maybe 10 or 12 manufacturers that are doing a golf day and showing off products and so forth. So it is just sort of a hub for the industry. People can network, they can do all sorts of different things. It's just a lot of things going on, and these are people coming from all over the world. That's the other side of it.
Yeah.
And we've had funny interactions over the years where people have inventions and new products and stuff, and it's like some dude from Austria or whatever, and he's like running you down in the parking lot because he sees you have a media badge or whatever like that. Yeah, I know you're laughing when you see this because you can remember all these things or whatever, but so it's everything that you can imagine that it would be that way, and a lot more. But yes, for the people that are maybe not paying attention as closely to the product stuff as we may be, for a lot of them, it's their first opportunity to kind of see products live.
And here's the thing: if you're in the industry or you're fortunate enough to go to the PGA show under the badge of somebody who is in the industry for the first time, you will be awestruck by what you see. It is very overwhelming because most people will have experienced some kind of consumer golf trade show,
right?
Whether I be at the Ottawa Golf Expo, the Toronto Golf Show,
pick a major city in the U.S.,
like any golf expo, golf show.
Sure.
Not the same. Like like you can take the biggest consumer golf show you've ever been to, multiply it by 1,000, and still not equal the vast experience. The experience that you're going to get is just going to be extremely overwhelming for you. First time. I know it was for me. The first time I went, it was, and I was doing it as a member of the media, which made it a little bit more difficult because you kind of have this sort of media idea that you've got to see everything. So you're working the aisles, trying to take in every booth, and then you get to talking to everybody that and then next thing you know, you're spending every day of the show just trying to work through the show.
Yeah, you get you're 5 hours in and you've done 2 aisles.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn after the first one, or that I can't do it that way. I got to do it this way, and then you learn after the second one to say, okay, now I figured this out. I got this, and after the third one, you're like, okay, I've nailed it now. By about the seventh one, you do actually have it probably figured out, and you're very particular about where you go and who you talk to, and the walk by, I'll come back and see you later kind of thing, and don't. How to avoid the 10 by 10s back in the day. I don't think there's quite as many in that category now as there used to be, but it's a great experience for you to ever get a chance to do it for the first time. And if that's the only time you ever do it, then awesome.
I think it's tough though too. I mean, the one thing that happens all the time is that you'd have consumers over the years that are like, hey, can I get in the show? Can I get in the show or whatever? And sometimes they'd find their way into the show, but what they usually end up discovering is that it would be good to kind of be there, see all the key people from the industry. There might be celebs that are there, or people from the golf industry that they've never seen before, that make it interesting or whatever. But what they quickly find out that it truly is a business show. So if they all of a sudden show up at a booth and somebody from the manufacturer starts talking to them and says, oh, what club are you with or whatever, and if they realize that they're not a buyer, you're
ignored pretty quick.
Yeah, because the thing is, you have to respect the fact that they have a limited amount of time. They're there to do business. It's very expensive to be at the show, so they need to kind of make some things happen. So if you're just there wasting their time, that's not one. It's not very respectful, because if you're just there just to kind of pet stuff,
another good analogy, because that's exactly what people that
you're end up going to be kind of wasting their time. And like I said, that network is very important. And while they might be friendly, they're also there to sell you a trip, sell you equipment. There's business to be done, and they have to justify being there. So don't take it as being unfriendly. It's a case of, okay, they're there to do business. The other networking events that are there are other things from other associations, like PGA of Canada has their Canada night there on the Wednesday night, which is a chance for everybody to kind of get together. They do some national awards and stuff like that, and you'll see a lot of those things going on sort of every evening. And sometimes there'll be like 4 or 5 receptions that you're trying to get to, and frankly, it's exhausting, because if you're really working the show, and this is I miss it, but I don't miss it in some cases, because I can cover a lot of stuff from here, but it's like sometimes you'd be doing like doing a video or so forth, and you're back at using hotel Wi-Fi at 1 o'clock in the morning to get done, and then you've got a 6 a.m. breakfast meeting with somebody because they want to catch coffee before the show floor opens. So by the end of the week, you're usually sick, you're usually tired, you usually take a week to recover, but sometimes you just don't have that time to recover. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a very tiring thing. And I will tell you that the number of people that I talked to this year that said, I'm not even sure why I'm going, because they know from a productivity standpoint, it might not be the best thing for them. So
I agree. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's exhausting. It is. I too haven't been in a very long time, so I really don't miss it. If I had the chance to go back again, for the right reasons, and maybe treated it more as a vacation type trip, as opposed to just locking down for a week, maybe I'd enjoy it more. But I mean, having been away from it for as long as I've been away from it now, I don't really miss it that much, and I don't aspire to want to go back.
Yeah, and as I said, though, there's other ways to do things now. Like I'm gonna stream some seminar stuff tonight. So I mean, later on this evening, I'll have access online, and while I'm not there and saying hi to people, I can actually can watch what I need to watch. So there's other ways to do it now, whereas that didn't exist back in the day. It was our analog time. When as we talked about, when we're talking about slides and stuff, where you're going to booths and whatever, whereas now it's like, okay, we can access from all over the place. So that's why the nature of the show has kind of changed. But I would say if you're in the industry, it would definitely be something that you should see at least once, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like do it once. If you really, really like it, do it again. But at least, if you're in the industry, do it once in your life, and you'll see what it's all about.
Yeah. And we get people now, I think, that are like, we'll do every second year or stuff like that. Like they're not making it as mandatory. And again, if you go and realize how much time you'd actually get with some of these people. Sometimes it's very little. So it's like, you know, if you go with these grand plans that you're going to talk to 55 different manufacturers and spend time with them, you don't have time. You will not have time. They will not have time for you. It just does not mesh normally. So it's usually your key suppliers, your key people that you see, and usually you end up at the end with a whole list of things of I wish I'd seen them. I wish I'd seen them, and you know, you just run out of time. We're talking over 1,000 brands here, so you know, it's a lot.
Yes, and you too, if you go, will find the latest, greatest golf glove technology that is guaranteed to improve your swing.
5 more yards.
Yes, exactly.
And yes, usually there's that side of it too, right?
Then usually these booths are right next to each other.
Yes, that's
literally there would be like three independent glove companies from somewhere in the world that are selling a glove that is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they're right next to each other trying to sell their glove, and
sometimes it's the exact same thing. that's the odd part.
If anybody's
like, we're the only one.
If anybody's ever spent any time these days on websites like Alibaba, you will find that you can pretty much get into the golf industry pretty quickly with the with a very unique glove that you will find at 100 different websites by somebody trying to make a buck off of a $10 glove, which is literally about all they'll make off the $10 glove. Yeah. So
we see that in a lot of things, and unfortunately, as you say, there's always the dreamers that are there. There's some people that come with original stuff, but there's a lot of people who think they're original, who, you know, you end up having to sort of slough off and ignore and say, I'm sorry. You know, I appreciate that you're trying to do this, but you have to realize that, you know, 5 other people over there are selling the exact same thing. So you know, it's not innovative, and it's not changing the industry. So
no. All right, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we will dig into some of the equipment and merchandise that is sort of featuring or headlining the PGA merchandise show this week, and we'll talk about it. So stay with us. You're watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. We'll be right back.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
All right. Welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. On this, the PGA Tour, PGA Show, PGA Show Merchandise Week, whatever. Like,
it's now just the PGA Show. They used to be the PGA Merchandise Show.
It's called the PGA Show Week.
Easier.
PGA Show Week. That's what we're on right now, and so we're going to get into talking about some equipment here on the back nine. Now, of course, the back nine is presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. Indoor golf is in full swing at Falcon Ridge. Their simulators are open 7 days a week, starting at 8 a.m. and shutting down around 11 p.m. They have 4 TrackMan simulators featuring over 400 golf courses, including many PGA Tour courses, and they also have beverages and light food available. So book your tee times at one of the 4 TrackMan sims at falconridgegolf.ca.
And edging closer to 500 courses now, so they just keep coming.
It's crazy. It is kind of it's kind of nutso if I can say so myself. But you know, people want variety, and once they've played one golf course, they probably want to move on to a different one.
I would think so. I mean, I still haven't played every single one of them on TrackMan, but
that might be a very interesting achievement. That might be a harder achievement than some of these playing all the courses on the top 100.
Yeah, I mean,
so they keep adding courses. You never actually you'd have to play 500 rounds of golf.
Yes,
just to get.
And you still wouldn't be caught up because you'd be. I think they added 92 last year. So, yeah. So
good luck with that, people.
Royal Dornoch was the latest one. So if you want to play that at Falcon Ridge, then
there you go.
Give him a buzz.
So on the heels of what we just discussed in the front nine with respect to the PGA Merchandise Show, giving you a little bit of some insight into what the show was, what it is, what it has become, where it's going. The main thrust of the PGA show, aside from all of the seminars and the meetings and the press conferences and the demo days, is the equipment.
Yeah.
Now, all of that might have changed over the years with the unveilings used to take place at the PGA show. They don't unveil anymore. They present.
Yes.
I guess. And the category that kind of everybody pays attention to is the driver category. That's kind of the way it is. And
we'll talk about golf clubs here, but we'll also get towards the end here of things that are not golf clubs. But again, they're all in the equipment category. But you're right. The driver is, it doesn't matter, as well as I, every time you go to a golf course or anything, when people go to look in your bag, what do they look at?
What do you got under the cover there? What do you got under the cover? What's under the hood there, young man?
Exactly.
What's under the hood? So the driver is the needle. Driver is the needle that everybody pays attention to. And I guess the big thing is, and it hasn't really changed a whole lot, but speed is still the big topic. Because everybody wants to hit it farther, and in order to hit it farther, yes, the technology of the head can, itself can help, but with the limitations that have been placed on the heads themselves too, that side of it has kind of been cut back a bit, and now they got to find other ways to find speed. And I guess that's kind of the way things are going right now with the driver, is everybody's trying to find a little bit more speed, particularly, and some distance on off centers and things like that. So, there's a few in the driver category that probably should be sort of mentioned. Even though there's probably hundreds.
Oh yeah, there is. So, we'll try not to be too specific here. Obviously, we've got some notes on, a lot of different specific ones because they're ones that people pay attention to or whatever. But, if we look at this category in general, and another aspect we should say, not only speed, but distance as well. And distance is not always about speed. It can be about controlling things like spin and making things a little bit more consistent off the, toe, heel, high part of the face, low part of the face. It has a factor as far as what you're going to get for overall predictability. And that's what, again, manufacturers are sort of leaning into a little bit, because they realize that, as you say, off on the center, you're maxed. But, we don't hit it on the center. So it's trying
maybe
to get...
you don't.
It's trying to... Maybe I don't. It's trying to get the maximum predictability and the tighter distance, dispersion. And that means, sort of distance, direction, or whatever, and trying to control the factors like a spin factor, for an example. So you're seeing technologies come into club faces and so forth from all these different manufacturers. And we'll say not every manufacturer has their drivers out right now. There are some that we've seen prototypes on the Sony Open, for an example. Zrixon, for an example, we saw, they had their model that they came out with last year, but they have, there's some prototypes that are out there, but they haven't officially unveiled like a 2026. So what I've seen as far as the theme across the manufacturers is trying to incorporate technologies that will create less variance off the center of the face. So for an example, TaylorMade, a lot of people are paying attention to TaylorMade because obviously they've been one of the strongest in the driver category for a number of years, and people have been waiting to see what they could do on the back end of, the QI35, where, admittedly, they say it for themselves that in their core model, they didn't quite have the success that they'd had on their previous model. And now they've reshaped their core model, which has excited a lot of people because, they went to a larger footprint last year in the QI35 to kind of maximize things, because everybody was talking about 10K and maximum forgiveness. But in this case, it's like, there's that key golfer, which is about 60% of the golfers that were buying that core model, wanted a little bit more of a a trimmer profile, let's say. So they've returned to that this year. But I would say, the key thing within their equipment is that one is that variability as far as that heel toe high low strikes. As far as the spin rates, they've definitely changed the geometry of that club face so that you don't get the super low knuckleballs off the top of the face and the super high spinners off the low part of the face. So it's tighter. And the other side of it, and this is a theme that we'll see with the other manufacturers, is adjustability. It's having more and more adjustability. So, the what we talk about all the time as far as fitting, which becomes the most important factor, especially when you're, spending this much on a driver. There's more adjustability in these models, and that is allowing more fine tuning to particular athletes, because as we talk about, your swing is different than my swing. So, you might be at a different speed, but your strike might be more consistent. I might be at a different speed, but my strike might be less consistent. So, if you can fine tune it for each golfer, then that makes it more flexible, and then that makes it more appropriate for each person.
Exactly. So I guess when we're talking about TaylorMade, we're talking about the QI 4D series that they've released. And we're talking about the QI is in reference to Quest for Inertia. I don't want to get too. We just got a whole lot technical, so I don't want to get any more technical because it really isn't about it. To the average consumer, it's not really about all the fancy brand names and what this stands for and what this stands for. It's the performance of it and the changes that TaylorMade has made to the equipment. On the heels, obviously, of the QI 35. This is taking all of what they learned from that driver and putting it into a new driver that is adding some different technology to help people hit it farther, hit it straighter, which is kind of the quest of the driver forever and ever is, longer, straighter, more forgiving. And now we're talking about adjustability. So,
and there was always some, but there's that much more. And I would say the one thing is that, this driver is out for fitting already, and it's been very well received. So, and the key thing for them is, having their golfers like Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, who are obviously their marquee players, move into that equipment right away. Whereas they were hesitant to do that in previous iterations. So that's big for them from a marketing standpoint. And that helps with the consumer as far as their faith in a product. So
now Ping has the G440K.
Yes.
And now Ping typically operates on a 2-year cycle. The G440K is kind of a mid-cycle addition to their lineup.
Correct.
And has already had some success on tour. I guess the tech behind it is more of it's the 440K is more of a successor to the G430 Max. The K stands for the 10,000 MOI threshold. Again, it's kind of a tech thing that, does the average consumer understand what the 10,000 MOI threshold means? No, we're telling you in case you're ever wondering what the K means in G440. Well, now you know what the K means in G440. And Ping has really become a lot more well known for their driver.
Very much so.
Company that was more of a putter company and then an iron company, pioneers really of the fitting industry.
For sure.
And now, they're kind of an across the board brand fitting into all categories and being very successul. So what I like, and I don't even know if the club itself is any better. I'm not even going to go down that road, but Callaway with the Quantum.
Yes.
Okay. Here's something that I like, and I don't want to dwell on this too much because we got things to discuss, but here's something that I really like. I am not going to question the performance of any equipment manufacturer's product. Okay. I'm not going to go down that road. But from a purely marketing standpoint, I love the fact that Callaway still comes up with cool names. And listen, I'm serious.
I know. I get it.
I am sort of
it's
TI 440, 350, 65K, XBY, like code names for these things. And actually just like even TaylorMade back in the day, you had the burner.
Right.
The TaylorMade burner. Now,
it's important.
Whatever. That's times change. But Titleist had the howitzer. driver, Starship, you know, like,
because no matter what you do from a product standpoint, it's important that you have those names to gather attention and to
identify from release to release, instead of just saying this is our new 100 model and now this is our 200 model and now it's our 300 model. It's like, come on, let's be creative here. Quantum, Paradigm, AI Smoke, Great Big Bertha, Big Bertha, Warbird, like, come on. You know, I'm not advocating for Callaway. I'm just saying that,
Elite,
lose the code names. Like, come on, let's go with some cool names.
Well, the fun part is that these are in some cases the code names, right? Like they're like,
they're
hey,
cool.
Right? They're like, I've got the quantum project, and then they'll turn it into something or whatever.
Quantum,
but you're right.
Screams like atoms and realms and stuff like that. I almost said the S word, but it just kind of screams that kind of techie, scientific physics kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like that's I like it. Anyway, there's some significance to the quantum name too. Like,
sure,
it's but anyway, so Callaway has the quantum driver that they've released. It's supposedly the early reviews on it suggested it has a slightly deeper face and a louder, more traditional acoustic profile. And acoustics in a driver is kind of a, I want to say it's not. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really is. How it sounds makes a big difference in how you feel with it. How you feel it performs. If it doesn't, if it sounds crappy, it's kind of hard to get behind that.
Yep.
Talk about the Cobra now. Cobra OPTM, which optimal. Again, OPTM. Like, come on, really cool name, OPTM.
Just go Optimum.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about that one just for a second before we get into a different category.
Sure. I mean, they did a great job last year with the adjustability in their hosel with 33 settings. And what they've done in this one is they basically just, we'll call it, advanced their drivers last year. I'd say they were kind of one of the more underrated drivers last year, and these are familiar as far as the lines when you see them. But what you'll see is that they've actually focused a lot on stability in a different way inside the head. And we're not going to get into the science of it as far as inertia on different axes.
Science.
And so, but let's say from a stability standpoint, you're going to find some good stuff here, and it's really a ramp up of what you saw last year. So a great product there. And then, let's wrap up the driver category. We'll go, Callaway jumped into a different face this year with, a blend of carbon and a couple different things that are in there. And then now, obviously TaylorMade had been doing a carbon fiber face. Now Mizuno has come out with a driver, their JPX1, which uses nano alloy face construction, which, is sort of, again, a different type of material. Mizuno has used this in some of their bat technology before. Again, another sleeper as far as the drivers are concerned. I've played around with some different Mizuno drivers over the years or whatever, but this is doing some different things for their face. And the one knock on them before was the fact that, some people felt that maybe they didn't have as much ball speed as maybe some of the other models. Again, that's subjective in some cases. It's not fully objective, but yes, their JPX1, which is getting some attention because, again, from a marketing standpoint, people are looking at it as far as, they're pushing in technology. They're not just coming out with the same driver again and just putting a new name on it and whatever. So those are some of the key things. I would say there will be some other ones that are going to come out in the next little while, but pay attention to that. But we can scoot on along to some other categories.
Wouldn't it be cool if we're getting close to the technological advancement where we're getting to actual programmable nanomite technology, where you can actually take your programmable bottle of nanomites and program them on your computer to shape into any driver color, size that you want, and then it nano itself, like some of the quantum realm of it's like a bad Marvel comic. Hey, look at Tony Stark can make his Iron Man suit out of nano technology, and look how thin that thing is.
So on that note,
don't let's move on to irons.
So no, in the iron category, we obviously have seen some things. Now we're going to focus a little bit differently on this because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the forgiving stuff. But we can see that, you know, like, and it's not in this list here, but you know, Cobra has expanded their 3D printing as far as their irons, and we're all seeing that already with players like Ricky Fowler who are using that 3D printing technology to make super customized product that, again, you know, it's shaping it and doing it in a way different way. Now, I will say the retail versions of these products, they're more blade light or whatever, so they are very expensive. They're probably $1,000 more than your regular set of irons right now, but that technology is coming. So
talk to me when it's nanotechnology.
Yeah. So in general, I will tell you right now that we're seeing a rise in the forgiving category this year. That is a big one that we're seeing. You know, we talked previously on another show when the introduction for the Zrixon XIR and XIR HL. So those models, see, did I get it?
Yeah.
All right. But that has given rise to other manufacturers as well, delving deeper into that category. And, you know, that's the Callaway Quantum Max OS, the TaylorMade QI irons, Cobra King Max irons, which are actually introduced today. So that's how fresh we are.
No embargo.
That's embargo was today. So, but here's the big thing. People are beginning to realize is that, you know, and we're seeing it now, especially even on tour, you know, Rory going from his blades to his cavity back model. We're seeing players realize and understand that, you know, as long as they're getting certain characteristics that they need as far as how the club works to the turf and so forth, they can go to slightly different designs that maybe have a little bit more forgiveness. So, you know, it used to be for a while that it was sort of I don't know, it was sort of like a scarlet letter that people would carry if they had something that was forgiving in their bag from an iron perspective. But once they start to hit these products and realize that there's a lot of advantages for them, because again, we're not all as good as we think we are. You know, it's the reason why we've all gone to more forgiving clubs over the years instead of going to our old blades. So we're seeing these clubs that stronger lofts, higher launch, greater stability and off-center strikes, soles that kind of work through the turf better. So we're seeing a fair bit of that. They're not going to be shy about that this year in those categories. And I think you're going to see more and more golfers, even low handicaps, recognize that and go to more forgiving products. So that's a key thing in that category for this year.
All right. Well, let's move on to wedges then.
Sure.
What we're seeing a trend of happening now is increasing the amount of options available in loft, bounce, grind. Now this is, you know, essentially for the fitting process to make sure that everybody gets sort of, you know, what suits them. You know, I mean, for the better player, for sure. I mean, I kind of think that maybe this might be kind of getting into overkill category with going too much into the number of lofts and the amount of bounce and grinds available, not because of the better player. The better player can obviously, you know, when we talk about better player, we're talking about, you know, the low index player. The high index player can get carried away with this kind of stuff a little bit too much, in that it really, it's too many options for them and they overthink what they need and what they don't need. It's always nice to have options. I get that. Totally get that. But when there's a crossover between the better player seeing that as good for their game and saying, oh, you know, this is great. Now I can get this and this or this. You know, I really preferred that 52 with 6 degrees bounce as opposed to 12 degrees bounce and so on and so forth. And with this different grind pattern, the 20 handicap, the 25 handicap, the 30 handicap is probably not needing that tight a grind option or that tight a bounce option in that 52 or that 54, that 53 or 51 to round out their set as the better player, but they do gravitate towards wanting that because, hey, well, you know, I'm just because I'm a 30 handicap doesn't mean I can't have that, even though it doesn't make a darn bit of difference in how I hit the ball.
But with having more options makes it also go the other way as well. It presents clubs that, you know, we'll call it have the player look, but have the playability is more suitable for a higher index player. When we talk about strike and so forth, and we see it now from a fit perspective, and I get what you're saying as far as the exactness and the preciseness, but there are general type things that you could address very quickly without going into the minutia for them, that at least give them some options where they can get into clubs that look like what they want to play, but maybe build in some characteristics that make it slightly easier for them. And we see it proved out all the time from a strike perspective when you go through and do a fitting with some people. So yes, having all those options probably means more to the lower index player, but it also means that those companies are also providing some options that can go into the other players with, stronger loft situations or higher bounce options, things that might be more suitable for them and might be helpful for them at their club. And
in theory, I agree with you. However, the higher handicap player is more likely the one that's going to go and buy the wedge off the rack and not get fit for it.
Possibly, yes.
So you're ended up with a whole lot of SKUs on the shelf, and someone that's buying, has 20 or 30 different options available to them, and if they're not going to get fit, they don't really know which one they need or which one they don't need.
Right. This is more about fitting anyways. This is not about having it sitting on the shelf, or more or less it's like, okay, it's for the one is going through the fitting and making the order rather than grabbing and being confused and standing there. But I know what you're saying.
So the Ping does have some pretty cool options available in the new S259 wedges, and Vokey with the new SM11s. Again, really, really strong in that category this year. So you should check those out. I mean, if you're not going to the PGA Merchandise Show to check them out, you can probably find them at maybe the Ottawa Gatineau Golf Expo or the Toronto Golf Expo or wherever the nearest golf expo to you is, if not at your pro shop or retailer. Check them out, but be cautious. If you're going to try to get something that's that fine-tuned, make sure that you're actually getting fit for it. Don't walk into the retailer and say, oh, I've always preferred a 12-degree bounce with the S-grind pattern. Get fit, because you probably... I don't actually really know what S259 wedge would be best suited for me, because what I'm using right now would be different. I need to know. So fit.
There's a lot of questions that have to be answered for you to kind of narrow that down for sure. So
so let's take a look at what we got. Okay, so let's take a look at putters quickly. More low and zero torque models. And some of the manufacturers are starting to vary up the price point options. So this is important too.
Very much.
This is probably, I'm not going to lie, this is probably one of the most important clubs in your bag.
Oh, yeah.
That probably 90% of you overlook as being the most important club in your bag. Because when you think about it, how many times you hit your driver in a round of golf is probably maxed out at around 14 or 15. And how many times you hit your putter, unless you are one putting everything, is probably closer to the 36 to 40 times around.
Probably
and more.
40% of your strokes or 40.
So why not make sure that the most amount of time you spend on a product that goes in your bag be this?
Yeah. And I like that point. And again, you're going to see, I was very general in this and saying, as far as the manufacturers and the price point, because you're going to see between now and March, you're going to see some introductions from some various manufacturers where they're very conscious about hitting some different price points, because they realize that, the most premium putters now are in the, $700, $800 Canadian range, that they need a price points at different levels. So I'm very interested to see, them do that, start to fill that gap, and that becomes more important. And what we're seeing as well is, like I said, the low and zero torque models, but we're seeing, a lot of mallets. Obviously, it's, been a big part of that segment. The new Scotty Cameron actually Phantom Mallets today, another one this morning, as far as their introduction or whatever. Core's using some different things with their 3D printing. They're using another technology, metal injection molding. They're using that as well to again, it's a construction process as well. But the classics are still around. Bettinardi's got a new B series milled.
I love that Bettinardi. I used to have a Big Ben putter.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it's a long time ago, but that was such an awesome putter. The with
Yeah,
that
they
nutty
make
putter.
beautiful putters. They mill these putters, and they mill them there in Illinois. So you're still seeing those options, and I think people get caught up in the trends, and I think that sort of happened with the low and zero torque stuff. But people are now all of a sudden realizing that it's not a magic bullet, and some people need other things, as far as they have to feel that putter twist, they have to feel some torque that's in there to know where the club face is. So again, variety is the biggest thing here more than anything, and as you mentioned, kind of fitting and so forth. So
okay, so just quickly with golf balls, there's not really a ton to talk about in golf
not
balls.
really.
It's mostly just a lot of updates to existing lines. Everything promising more speed off the club head, more durability, which is important. I've seen on flagstick.com that
Zexio
is releasing a golf ball, which I haven't had a chance to talk to my buddies over there yet to see what that's all about. But that's an interesting one.
Aerodynamics definitely plays a part. You'll see some introductions even in the next little while where manufacturers are not really changing the formula of their golf ball too much, but they're paying attention to things that will affect the consistency of how their flight and so forth is, based on things like paint and all sorts of different stuff. So those are little micro stuff into the weeds, but you'll see a little bit of that, but not a huge level of updates here. So
and obviously we can be a little bit brand loyal when it comes to golf balls. So just understand that there are many different golf balls out there.
Yeah.
It would not hurt you at all just to get a sleeve here and there, try some different golf balls throughout your round. Even for you better players that think that there's only one brand for you, maybe not. Maybe you're missing something. I mean, and a golf ball is a very unique item in your golf bag because it is. Like when I've used lots of different golf balls over the years, and I can't say that I can settle myself on one golf ball that is the one. I have the one right now. I like it. It works. It performs. I don't have a problem with it. So as long as I have those golf balls, and then I'm going to keep using them. But that doesn't mean that I might not try. I always try different stuff. So
for sure.
Like I love trying different stuff.
My garage is littered. My one drawer is full of different golf balls, just from a testing standpoint. Some are not for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Some are definitely. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. But it makes me more informed. So when people ask, I'm looking for this and this and this, I can tell you it's not one company suggestion all the time. There's a lot of different products out there.
Exactly. Footwear, we're kind of getting into shoes that are lighter, definitely weight reduction.
Big time. Yep.
A few companies now getting into more of the classic styles, which I kind of like. I am a little bit more of a traditional. Well, I don't call it a traditionalist. I don't want to use that term. I like the old school stuff. I prefer the look of it, especially in shoes. I kind of like that look, that old school look, as opposed to the more modern running shoe style of shoes. Everything's comfortable now, so let's put that aside.
Yes,
classic shoes of the old days are those that still were uncomfortable, more of a dress shoe with spikes in the bottom. Now take today's technology, the running shoe, and put it into a classic looking shoe. Now you've got classic shoes are just as comfortable as the running shoe style shoes. So understand that. They're just getting that nicer, cleaner, simpler look to them, and I like that. That's me.
But we're even seeing that, as I said, even some of the athletic shoes that we're seeing now have a little bit more of a simpler look. I think people just don't want something that's way too busy. Some people don't care, but in a lot of cases, even the ones that were going a little bit wilder in look are trying to simplify a little bit more. So.
All right, so we'll get into this, probably call this our final category that we'll get into too much. Now, there are some other things out there, other tech. There's greens or mowers for golf courses that are, auto.
The autonomous
ones. There's all kinds of golf course maintenance products that you find at the PGA Merchandise Show. There's a whole category in that. AI, like there's a lot of cool tech and stuff that's happening, but probably the most interesting category, that evolving category, is in the launch monitor category, because typically launch monitors, like thousands and thousands of dollars even to have a personal one. Now we're really starting to see this sort of 200, you can see a $200, $250, $1,000, $800. Like there's a lot of product in this category now offering
and more
a lot more minimal features than your TrackMans, but with sim options available. Like even the one that I have right now, I bought is the SC4 Pro. Just to have, if I want to go to the range and check some numbers, I got it just simply for the numbers. Even that one has an E6 Connect component to it where I can connect that to a phone or a tablet or a computer and use it as a sim. So, and this thing was like under $1,000.
Yeah.
This is a crazy category.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of manufacturers get into this. We're going to see a number of them come from companies that are involved with like rangefinders and stuff like that, because they're going to have sort of connected sort of devices and so forth. But I've seen ones that are coming out at the show this week as low as $200. Other ones that have pretty good features that are kind of in the $600 US range. They would be competitive with your the model that you have there, but a lot more companies are diving into that because they know that that space is sort of important for people. And again, there are limitations of what they can provide for stats and numbers, but not everybody wants everything. Like as a coach, I need everything. I need, a lot more detailed stuff. But the average player that's going to go out there, I mean, if they're going to be able to get their, their club head speed, they'll get a launch angle, they'll get their, an estimated distance, maybe their launch direction a little bit. They're not getting into their face and path and their low point and whatever. But the thing is, there's more companies that are getting into this space. And, as the cost comes down, it's just better for consumers. And it's a lot better for a consumer if you go to the range and you can hit a whole bunch of golf balls and you match it up to make sure it's somewhat correct. But if you know what your actual distances are, it makes it a lot easier to play the game, and it makes it a little bit more engaging for your practice. And I think that's a good part as well. Just going there and meaninglessly hitting balls onto a range that might have, a couple of targets out there and you're not really sure if those distances are those distances. But at least if you can check that, you can be a little bit more engaged. And I would say we're going to see probably, we'll probably see at least 10 more sub $1,000 launch monitors coming in the next little while.
I think it's great. I think it's great. You're opening up a category to people, and you're not pricing that category people out of the market when it comes to that category. I mean, I think it's great that everybody has an opportunity, if they want to get some kind of a launch monitor technology that they can take to the range with them using their hitting nets. I just have a hitting net here. I don't have a launch, I don't have a sim or anything like that, but I have a hitting net. And we just set it up behind, hit some shots, get some numbers. It tracks it in the app, so I don't have to write it down.
Right, exactly.
I put in my profile, I hit my shots, it tracks everything. It's good. I mean, I don't use it that often, but
that's the other side of it too, from a software standpoint. Once you have the hardware, as long as the hardware has got a certain level of capability, the manufacturers can keep adding features from a software standpoint, which is good because it just means that your investment, pays off over a longer period of time.
It's not like you got to buy the next one in order to get the next.
Correct.
They upgrade as much as they can within what you have, and they're awesome. Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would say that puts a wrap on PGA show.
There'll
week,
be more to come.
There will be more stuff to come. We'll talk about more stuff in podcasts in the future. Obviously, right now, you should be heading over to flagstick.com pretty regularly, and because there's stuff that's added all the time right now with respect to equipment and products and information from the PGA show. So you should do that. But for now, we'll put a stamp on that for this week, and thank you for tuning into us. Thanks to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and of course our presenting sponsor this week, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita or in this country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. Golf PEI is the place to visit to book your golf vacations. So get on that. Hopefully you are enjoying what you are hearing and watching. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, make sure you never miss a single episode. And of course, please visit flagstick.com. More amazing golf content delivered there every single day. Be sure to subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter so that you can get all that information dropped in your inbox free of charge 3 times per week. And for those interested, do not forget to sign up for the Flagstick Open now. You can do that at flagstickopen.com or at flagstick.com and get into the field, either in the field or on the wait list. Do it today. But as always, we do appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I'm Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Always remember, go for the stick.